Hi guys, the episode that you're just about to listen to is generously sponsored by our affiliates Board Game Crate. Board Game Crate provide a monthly subscription service where they get fresh new games delivered straight to your door. Just head over to www.boardgamecrate.co.uk, and furthermore, if you use our discount code UnluckyFrogIsAwesome, all lowercase, all one word, you'll get a cheeky little discount. It's easy to remember because it's true. Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined by your usual hosts here, Josh Hartley, Ben Porter,
Yo.
Charlotte Porter.
Oh.
Should have said "and" before your name because that's it. There's three of us. There's three of us.
That's fine.
Aye. Yeah, this is good. This is nice.
That'll do.
That'll do, pig. That'll do. So yes, hello. We're back to. We've got a bit of gaming news. More of a freeform episode this week.
Yeah, a bit more freeform because, well, you're the only one that's really done any gaming.
I know. I've done quite a lot.
You have.
Like, I've been busy.
Yeah.
So
I've been working a lot, so I've only really had the energy to pick up my Switch when I get home. So, been playing Pokemon basically.
Yeah. You excited for home and getting some new mons?
Home's already out now, so I've got some of my. I've got my Blastoise and my Incineroar over, so I'm looking forward to giving them a whirl in ranked.
Nice.
On the 1st of March. So.
Good. And Charlotte, what have you been up to?
Nothing.
You've been a mum.
You've been raising a child.
But I mean, like, I've not played any games or done anything.
Yeah.
Literally just have...
Lore Olympus.
Apart from Lore Olympus.
Oh, yeah. Reading comics.
Reading comics.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with webtoons at the moment because I can just pick it up and it's great.
I'm really glad that you said that you've been
webtoons.
doing something because it makes it sound like I have not been contributing whatsoever
No.
when I've been playing Pokemon and then Charlotte's been being a mum.
No, it's more just that, like, by the time the wee man goes down, I'll actually just want to sit and just watch telly.
Yeah,
you know, I
that's
don't want to do
fair.
anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, webtoons has filled that space, and I love it. I love all the webtoons. But no,
Cool. Well, I'll fill y'all in with. Why did I say y'all? That's not me at all.
Sound a bit Deliverance. I'll fill y'all in.
Oh, that just made my skin crawl. But I will fill you all in with what gaming stuff I've been up to lately. We've got some bits of news to cover off. We'll start with an announcement of a new upcoming game.
So it's always a little slow this time of year because all the big conventions have been. That tends to be when you get reams and reams of announcements.
But we do have Ravensburger Games have announced a new edition of its 2019 Villainous. That's Disney Villainous. We're now getting Marvel Villainous.
Oh.
Yeah. So, intrigued from Charlotte, grown from Ben.
Right, okay. First of all, don't get upset, dear listener. I'm not the biggest fan of the Marvel.
What have you done to us and our podcast?
Yeah.
They're gonna descend upon us.
I know.
Burn us at the stake for not liking.
I do like the X-Men. Like I've said to you, I've always liked the X-Men.
Which ironically does not form part of the Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely no one will be surprised to hear that one of my favourite superheroes is Wolverine.
Shock.
Yeah.
Mate, the closest thing to a Viking in... No, actually, no, that would be Thor.
Right, okay, I'm going to upset people, but...
Okay, let's hear it.
So when I was a lad...
I did that last episode... I did that the episode with Tom. I invoked My Chemical Romance. Sorry.
You were, like, into the emo stuff back in the day, weren't you?
Not really. I was more new metal, but, like, now that I look back on it, the emo... Like, I'll listen to Jimmy Eat World now, and I'm like... This was great. Why wasn't I listening to this back when I was a teenager instead of like Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit? Don't get me wrong, I have still got a soft spot for Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, but I think the likes of Jimmy Eat World and My Chemical Romance have aged a lot better.
Limp Bizkit, man, it's like you go and listen back to some of that, it's cringe.
I know, but it's so fun. Agree to disagree, hey? No, Limp Bizkit are great. This isn't a hill that I'm going to die on, so I don't feel like arguing too much in their favour, but I enjoy them.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, when I was a boy, I was quite into reading up on a lot of the mythologies, like Greek mythology, Norse mythology. So I was more into like the DC comics growing up. Mm-hmm. So like I used to regularly get the Batman comics. So I didn't really have much of an awareness of Marvel outside of the X-Men.
Yeah.
So I, from reading the Norse mythologies, had in my head quite a specific image built up of what Thor was like.
Yeah.
And it's not at all.
It's not like Thor in the comics or the films.
Yeah.
I quite like Thor, though. I was saying to Tom, because we were talking about Marvel, funnily enough, because he's got Marvel Champions. I was saying to Tom that Thor's, I think, my favourite one out of the lot. Out of the Marvel cinematic stuff.
Out of the Marvel cinematic universe, I do like Thor, but he doesn't quite match up with my picture of what Thor. It's little things like, it's always that problem that people have, seeming like they read a book first and then see the movie.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, the book's better,
Yeah.
Because it's little things like, I always imagine Thor having red hair.
Fair.
For some reason.
Yeah, Scandinavian, so...
Yeah. I imagine him being much more of a brute as well. I think like, because he, like, it's like in the comics, he's clean shaven, isn't
yes.
he? What self-respecting Viking is clean shaven? Answer me that, Josh.
I can't, man. I can't.
And
I can't grow a beard. I have no place to comment. Guys, I can grow a beard. I just choose not to. Actually, no. If I'm telling the truth, right, I can grow like the mustache bit.
It's like a Peter Powers beard.
I can grow the mustache and the goatee bit, and then one side of my face. But for some reason, the other side of my face won't grow in.
Okay, like
it's a good thing that I can't grow a beard because I would look ridiculous with a beard.
You would look like a B-list psychic if you grew a beard.
I could if I grew a beard, could I replace Derek Okora?
No one will ever replace Derek Okora.
Good night, sweet prince.
Yeah.
God rest your soul.
GBNF.
Anyway, what were we talking about? We were talking about Villainous.
Marvel Villainous. So, yeah. The other thing for me is that Villainous was not a good enough game in itself to warrant a bunch of reskins. Not that a bunch of reskins are necessarily always warranted, but I mean they did it quite successfully with Catan, didn't they? Like re-implementations, different themes and things like that. And I mean, as much as it's not one of my favourites, the bare bones of Catan, it's a good game.
It translates well, to other themes.
Whereas with Villainous, it's horribly unbalanced for a start.
Alright, in its defence, that is deliberate.
It's been designed that way, hasn't it?
It has been, but at the same time, it's okay. Mm-hmm. It also, I feel like games of Villainous can last a lot longer than your attention span for them necessarily does.
They outstay their welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be lying if I was saying I was excited for another flavour of Villainous.
I think a lot of those things, kind of like all the versions of Monopolies, they're kind of like collector's pieces almost.
Which I can respect. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think things like Marvel and Disney, like the fan bases are rabid for those things, and they will collect anything that's got the stamp on it, won't they? So.
Is it? Do you think you'll give this game a go, Charlotte? Or
probably not. I wasn't that fussed with Villainous in its first iteration, to be honest.
So now we've got the Marvel fans and the Disney fans against us.
Though, I'm trying to think what I could do to make it better. I can't do anything.
Disney films are
Charlotte's
good.
trying to put her thumbs up as if that'll help anything. I don't think so.
I wonder if it's more to do with a lot of the time when we've played Villainous, we've played it with your mum, who just makes up the rules as she goes along.
And she actually does cheat as well.
She does.
That's a good strategy, to be fair. Like,
but I think she can get away with it because of the fact it's unbalanced. So you don't always know when she's cheated because all the different characters do different things.
You'll say to her, like, no, you can't do that. She'll go, that's rubbish. And it's like, it's the rules.
I like how assertive your mother is in her response of, no, that's rubbish.
Yeah. You kind of see where I get it from, don't you?
It's not a, oh, are you sure? It's a, no, that's rubbish.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So that is coming out in August 2020. So I don't know. We'll probably give it a go at some point.
Imagine our Tom will probably pick it up.
Aye, he's a sucker for Marvel.
Yeah.
Bless his little Spider-Man branded socks.
And I'm thinking that I might have more of a natural inkling towards Marvel than I would Disney, to be honest.
Well, the reason I asked in particular was because I know that you're certainly more into your comic books than I am.
Yeah.
So I thought that the theme might appeal more to you.
Yeah, I was always more of an anti-hero than a superhero.
Well, it's villainous. It's villainous. So they've confirmed.
Who's going to be in it?
Yeah,
it'll be the Green Goblin, surely.
Yeah.
I don't think. No, hold on.
Doctor Doom.
Let me find the.
Doctor Doom's a good. Red Skull, he's got to be in it.
None of them, right? Okay.
Seriously?
So they've got 2 more to announce.
Right. Okay.
But they have confirmed Thanos,
Okay. Yeah.
Ultron,
Yep.
and Healer.
All of the shit ones.
All the ones that appeared in the films.
Yeah, funnily enough. Although to be fair, Red Skull has been in the films.
Yeah.
Kind of, I would have thought Loki.
Yeah, but then again,
He's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
He's. Anyway, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if they go outside the MCU.
You might even get an expansion which is grey characters. We could have Loki and other characters that kind of like are good. Are they bad?
Venom would be cool.
Yeah.
Venom.
Imagine like the porn for Venom, just like teeth everywhere.
What?
As in the porn, the piece.
I thought you said porn. I was like, why? Why would I imagine that? Why? Why, Josh?
I don't know. I thought the context was quite clear what I was talking about. No, the playing piece, not pornography. Why would I invoke Venom pornography?
Well, everybody's got a kink.
Oh, yeah, but
Somebody must have
you just ruined Venom for everyone now.
I haven't ruined it for shit. Alright, that's your minds. That's on you. I was talking about the playing piece. The porn.
Your dodgy accent, that's what it is.
I don't have a dodgy accent. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
So now that we know what you mean.
Yeah, that would look really cool though.
Yeah,
with
like
all
that.
the teeth.
Oh my goodness.
And would Thanos just be like a fist?
Oh, can we just move on? Next.
Right. Next news article is regarding secret. What?
I don't even like the gauntlet. Why would they have the gauntlet?
It's ruined now.
Yeah. Just given what else has been said. Oh man, this is going to be a fun one to edit this week. I've got my work cut out. This next bit is regarding Secret Hitler, which I clocked on Facebook. This is a reliable source of news,
I think
of course.
Probably one of Unlucky Frog's favourite party games.
Yes.
I think it's the best version of that game. Like, you know,
Social
there's
stealth.
Yeah, a lot of hidden traitor games, right? There's a lot of them. I think Secret Hitler is the one that does it the best. It's the one I feel the least nervous about playing. So,
but I think that's because it's the most interesting implementation.
Yeah.
I'm really nervous playing it.
Really?
Because I don't always feel like I know the rules.
Okay.
I kind of just feel like I'm just... But I think that's the whole point, is you don't know. There's so much going on, you don't know what's really happening.
I actually had a game where I managed to get Hitler on the first round, I guess.
Yeah.
You were like, who was it?
It was we were playing
Rebecca, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Rebecca. We were playing it at Duncan's.
Oh, I thought it was when we played it by Iona.
I can't remember the lad's name, but I got him right away, and it was quite satisfying.
I was like, yes,
because I even did like the finger gun thing. I was like, right, it's you, and it was. And it got
nice.
It.
It's a good soul read.
It's quite satisfying when you do that because it's high risk. But yeah. Great game, love it. Anyway,
yes.
why is it in the news?
In the news, this is Madison, Wisconsin. I'm going to quote. This is
famously cosmopolitan.
Wisconsin. CBS. I'll quote the news article. A card game called inverted commas Secret Hitler has drawn a complaint from a state senator in Madison.
Okay.
The game pits fascists against liberals as they try to root out a secret Hitler. And in some versions of the game, the Hitler character is replaced with President Donald Trump. A Wisconsin State Journal report says Republican Senator Steve Nass has complained that pages for the legislature... I can't say that name. Legislature. I'm leaving that in. Are playing Secret Hitler during workouts. A spokesman for Nass said the state's chief clerk has confiscated the game, and that amuses me. And the legislature.
Wait, so it's not the game? It's not like a complaint about the morality of the game. It's the fact that people are playing this game.
Well, this is what the article isn't particularly clear about, because the headline just reads "Secret Hitler game draws complaint from senator in Madison," and you're like, oh, is someone taking umbrage with... By the way, how long has Secret Hitler been out for now?
Oh, years. I think it must be nearly 10 years.
Right.
Been out for a while.
So it's only getting a complaint now.
But I'm just thinking, would they have confiscated codenames if they were playing codenames?
Well, I don't know. It's not clear.
But this is it, right? I think the problems that these people have with Secret Hitler go beyond,
the fact that people are playing it during work.
I dare say they're playing it during the lunch break, which is strictly speaking work hours, but it's also that little bit of the day where...
Yeah, but you can't confiscate someone for playing a game on their lunch break. That would be insane.
Maybe they're actually sat in the courtroom and there's just like a wee group of guys sat on a table and they're like, what's going on here? We're playing Secret Hitler.
I agree with you. Back in the day, my grandparents' generation, they would play cards during the lunch break.
Yeah, that's perfectly normal.
If it's during work hours, then
well, this is what I'm interpreting it as. It's like they should be working, but they are playing Secret Hitler.
But the bigger question, is it newsworthy?
I suspect that the problem that this senator has with the game is the connotations of fascists versus liberals.
I find it interesting that the article in particular points out that some people have been replacing Hitler with Donald Trump.
Yeah. Because the thing is, as much as a secret Hitler maybe at first seems that it's strictly trading off of shock value and people are expecting some sort of South Park type offensive humour in it, it is actually quite, as much as a game can be true to interpreting historical events, because you as the players are essentially reenacting the
demise of the Weimar Republic
and Hitler's ascent to power. Because as much as people maybe don't like to front up to it, he used existing political channels to get there. There wasn't a big violent coup like the Bolsheviks or anything like that. It was, and this is the thing. I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that fascist regimes always have some sort of brutal takeover. That's not necessarily the case. If anything, generally speaking, what tends to happen is there's this very creeping, insidious process that takes place where they very slowly, and then it's almost as if people are, they suddenly...
The Nazis are in power!
Yeah.
Crap!
Yeah. And that's what happened with Hitler's rise to power. Essentially what happens, and this is what happens in the game, is if you as the liberals fail to stop the fascist conspiracy, Hitler gets into power, and that those were the avenues through which the Nazis came to power. And granted, they did use a bit of brutality with, I mean, bits maybe understating it, you know, like brawling in beer halls and things like that.
News flash: Nazis were violent.
Yeah.
More at 11.
But I think the people that are offended by it don't really actually know much about it. I think they've just seen the Hitler thing, and I think that the fact of the matter is that in the West we are actually seeing the resurgence of a lot of fascist values. I don't think that we can really shy away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump does have a lot of fascist tendencies, and I think that for a lot of people that realisation is very uncomfortable, especially when they see him being compared to...
Oh, guys, get used to 4 more years, because my hot take, he's getting re-elected.
I don't know. I think it depends on who the Democrats put on there.
I bet you a tenner Donald Trump gets elected again. On the podcast, right now. 10 quid.
I'm not a gambling man.
Boo. Charlotte?
Yeah.
Dear listener, if you would like to take me up on my bet, let me know.
Well, the fact of the matter is, I never even thought he would be putting the ticket.
Well, right, yeah.
So for me to say again that I'm sure that he's not going to be elected again, I think I've got no idea what's going on anymore.
Yeah.
So,
right. Anyway.
Stranger things have happened.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like Trump getting on the ticket.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's that's Secret Hitler being in the news.
Did you not say? I think the Jewish lobby have.
This was in January. December, January. Jewish group urges Amazon to stop selling Secret Hitler.
Maybe they're really concerned about counterfeit copies circulating. Like,
I mean, that is from www.timesofisrael.com.
yeah.
So I don't think it's the.
Yeah.
Don't think it's that.
And there maybe is an issue then around how it's being marketed online. That if it is being marketed as, you know, a satirical game rather than
historical like,
accurate.
I think we've talked about this on the channel before, but in case we haven't, like, it's something that I wonder to myself, like, how soon is too soon? Like, obviously, the Nazis and the Holocaust are still very sensitive topics. Still some living survivors
through it. Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, should we be doing games about those events? Now, I would argue that just making a game based around those events isn't like diminishing the severity or the seriousness of it. It's not to be done with. If it's done with it tastefully, like, it's not there to try and bring humour about those events. It's actually, you could use it as an educational tool. Yeah. Right? That being said, there are other games that, like, because I remember
Axis of Evil.
Yeah. The game about the war on terror.
Yeah.
Was published while there were still troops on the ground in Afghanistan. So, is that too soon?
Yeah.
My gut feeling is, yeah, kinda.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Like,
I do think that, cause as much as we've said that Secret Hitler is not as shocking as it does seem, that there is a bit of comedy within it. In Secret Hitler, the fascist cards, they're all lizard people, which is a bit of a nod to David Icke's theory that the elites of the world are
lizard men,
lizard people, you know, like the Queen and all that. So there is humour.
Prince Andrew doesn't sweat apparently, so
yeah, obviously lizards.
Confirmed.
We all laughed at David Icke.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
I know. What an enlightened man.
It's mad that he was a sports commentator.
How do you get from one to the other? What
Well,
decisions?
how do you go from writing sci-fi to then running the largest...
one of the fastest growing religions
Because
on the
you're-
planet.
Because you're still writing fiction.
Well, hey! Take that, Scientology.
It's the short answer.
Yeah.
But to go back to Secret Hitler, so that there is comedic elements to the game. It's not a super serious representation of the Nazis' rise to power, and it would be completely dishonest to pretend otherwise. There's still a comedic element to it. But that being said,
But it's not a humorous depiction.
No,
That's the thing.
no.
It's quite. I'm thinking about the presentation of it, and actually the way it is presented.
it's very stylized.
Yeah.
All of that being said, I do feel like satire is still important.
Yeah.
With things like that, and I think a lot of these political groups, I think they mean well, but I think that they're a little bit misinformed when it comes to some of the things that they protest.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to do the sit on the fence thing and just say like it's a difficult balancing act. Like it's tricky because I enjoy Secret Hitler, but you know if someone was to try and argue that it's trivializing the events of the rise of fascism, World War II, and the Holocaust, I think I would struggle to put up a good argument.
Well, for me, that it's the satire thing,
yeah,
and that satire is important, and that if you don't, if you can't find a way of poking fun at people like Hitler, I think in many ways that caricaturing people like Hitler, making fun of him, it diminishes his power.
Do you think characterising Trump has diminished his power?
I think in many ways it does, and I think it more so with Trump because he always reacts to it.
That's true.
See, I would argue the other way and say that because actually Hitler in the game, Hitler is not an important character. The important characters are the fascist players.
No, he's important, but he's vulnerable.
Yes, but what I mean though is he's not, apart from getting him into power, he's not the people that are actually
pulling the strings.
But again, that points to the fact that this individual is not as powerful as we all think, because, like you said, there was a cabal of people around him that helped him get there.
Yeah.
But I think like, to round off what I was saying about satire, I would actually go as far to say that satire is a valuable, an invaluable component of democracy.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
Because
we've got to be able to make fun of everyone, right?
First of all, levity helps with anything, I think, and being able to bring levity to... and there's a difference, I think, between bringing levity and making fun of something.
Yeah.
And I think being able to bring levity to anything is important for helping you survive, if nothing else. I think the other thing is that I think making fun of people that are in positions of power is important to the whole thing of political accountability.
Mm-hmm.
That no one's above reproach, no one's above being made fun of, and that all feeds into that. It also just helps people cope with it in general. It's a form of escapism.
Yeah.
But I would go as far as to say that it's an important component of democracy because it just brings these people down a peg.
That's fair. This got remarkably heavy for what I thought would be like a 5-minute in other news. But yeah, there we go. That's what Secret Hitler's been in the news for, and then a much bigger discussion around the ethics of theming your game.
Yeah.
So yeah. So, what have I been up to in terms of tabletop gaming, seeing as I'm the only one who's been doing it?
What have you been up to?
I have played a couple of games of Blood Rage for the first time. Oh, I love it! I love it. It's a good, cool mini or not game that features miniatures. Hey!
Really nice miniatures as well.
They are. Unfortunately, though, it's that sort of the plastic that they use is that slightly rubbery one. So some of the spears are bent a little bit in Nick's copy. So it's I go to a gaming night on a Wednesday with my pals Nick, Stephen, Michael, but Michael's travelling the world at the moment, and Sam and Lizzie and others who pop by from time to time, but they're like the regulars. So. We got our Viking on Viking violence on VV a couple of times now. I really enjoy it. It's given how complicated it actually looks. It's a very simple game to play, and it's one of these ones I talk about like scratching a couple of my itches with other games, but it does because it starts with it's all card driven, and it starts by you drafting. So immediately I'm like, yes. And then you get these cool miniatures that you put onto a map. I'm like, yes. And then you get to fight. Yes.
I feel it has all the hallmarks of quite a typical Eric M. Lang game now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You look even like back at some of the early stuff that he did.
Chaos in the Old World.
Exactly.
Yeah. It did in certain respects remind me of Chaos in the Old World, but this is sort of like it's almost like they put that into a pot and boiled it for a few hours just to get its like raw essence, its stock. Got rid of all the unnecessary bits, and what you're left with is actually like a really tight game. There's 3 turns. There's only 3. Well, they call them ages, but there's only like 3 ages in the whole thing, and there's loads of different strategies to try and win. In my first game, which I did actually alright in, my strategy was get all the warriors, upgrade them, have like the hardest army on the board, and let's go pillage. And get my clan to be the strongest clan, like militaristically. I did not win because Stephen was going for the death strategy. I want all my guys to die in glorious battle, and I'm going to score points for guys being released from Valhalla. So
Hashtag
Valhalla. Valhalla has its rainbow bridge in the art as well.
The Bifrost.
Ooh, I did not know it was the Bifrost.
Yeah.
Cool. And there's a ton of expansions as well, which Nick has got. So he's got the 5-player expansion, so that's what we were playing with. The first game, and in the second game we introduced gods, which sort of morph the game in certain ways. So we had Odin sat on his throne with his little ravens, and we had Thor with his hammer. Thor, yep, sorry.
Red hair.
Well, he's unpainted.
Make sure you get red hair.
I don't know if Nick's planning on painting them, to be honest. But if I get a copy,
I will give Thor a glorious red mane.
Luscious.
Yep.
Luscious ginger locks.
Yep.
And he has a beard.
Absolutely, of course he does.
Because he's a Viking.
Yeah.
So Thor wants you to just fight and kill. And Odin wants you to pillage and rewards you for pillaging settlements. I did horribly in the second game. I did that thing in the second game where my first turn was really strong. And I may or I may not have started a fight with Stephen and just stood up and opened my arms and just went, come at me. And
everyone did.
Promptly got punished for my hubris.
Well, that's what you get when you put a target on your back.
I know, I should learn by now, but it's too fun. That went horribly for me, that second game.
It's funny because it's very thematic of a lot of the
Vikings.
Sort of pagan mythologies, isn't it? And like, oh, there's a human who thinks quite highly of himself.
And then they queue up with their mallets and their axes. So I think I'm going to pick up a copy of that for us to
Okay.
play because I want to see what you guys think of it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I keep meaning to play it, but it keeps evading me. And I love anything Viking themed.
Yeah. No, so we'll...
Shock horror.
yeah, everyone's surprised.
Yeah.
So we've got that. The other thing...
It is part of is it a trilogy, isn't it? Because you've got Rising Sun, and then I think the third one is Ankh, which is the Egyptian themed one.
Oh, right. I did not know that they were part of like a
Ankh
linked
looks
thing.
really good. I think I might pick Ankh up.
I mean, I'd heard of all three games, but I didn't realise they were
It's
sort
not
of linked.
It's not out yet. Ankh, I think it's... is it maybe Gen Con this year?
Right.
Or no, sorry, it's Cool Mini or not. It'll probably be a Kickstarter.
There we go. So, yeah, I'm going to try and pick up a copy. So,
Good.
we'll see how that goes. Other games that I have played, I have played a game that has been a blind spot for me for a long time. I've played Dominion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Considered by many to be the classic deck builder, isn't it?
And yeah, it is like pure deck building as well. You don't do anything with the deck. You literally you draw your hand, and you will do an action, and you'll buy a thing, and then that's it. It's such a simple game. And it is really it's interesting. I kind of wish I played it before all these other games that have been inspired by it have come out. But it still plays really well and really elegantly, and I think there's something to be said for just having a game at its the most basic mechanic.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed playing it. But it's one of these things where I think the deck builder has been
It's
bettered.
evolved. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I think there's better iterations. I mean, to bring a comparison that you often use, Ben, it's kind of like the Beatles.
Yeah.
So the Beatles are always going to be great, but music has changed since they came about, and often inspired by it.
I would go as far as to say evolved, because I'm not the biggest Beatles fan, but I do acknowledge that they were very important to the whole evolution of rock
Trajectory.
music.
Mm.
Yeah, and they're, I mean, one of my favourite bands is the Killers.
Yeah,
And there's like massive influences from the Beatles. With
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
stuff they've done.
most like rock and pop bands you can probably through no less than 6 degrees go back to the Beatles, and I dare say there's a lot of deck building drafting games that you could go back and find its lineage towards Dominion, right?
For me, my favourite deck builder so far, and it hasn't been topped, is Tyrants of the Underdark.
I find that interesting because it's not just deck building. No, there's other things going on in that game.
Control thing, isn't there?
Yeah. Whereas the ones I tend to gravitate towards are maybe the more pure ones. Like you really don't like Legendary, but I love it. I think it's great because I get to draw all the cards.
Yes.
Spend my 10-minute turns and I'll draw a card and I'll play this, which lets me draw two more cards.
Tom
play
and
this.
I use a more graphic comparison for what Josh does in games of Legendary, but
We'll save that so I don't have to censor it.
Well, you want me to say it?
No, I don't want you to say it. That's what I said. Save it.
Sorry.
Ben, children listen to this.
I'm pretty sure they don't.
At this stage, no. So I played that, and I also played Dune.
Oh yeah.
Another blind spot. Dune. So we played 2 games of it, and this is with Thomas, not Tom Mannering, Thomas from Geekaboo and Harley, and I was round at theirs. Playing with a couple of other guys as well.
This was another one last year where you just couldn't get it anywhere.
Yeah, I will say this, right? We played 2 games. One game was won in turn 2.
Whoa.
The second game, I gave up at 3 a.m. Right? It varies wildly like how
see,
long it
I'm
goes.
not too keen on games like that where you just don't know how long it's going to go, because Archipelago is a bit like that.
Well, so here's what I will say. I enjoyed it. I kind of wish we'd started the second game like at a reasonable hour, because it would have been great to really sink my teeth into that. It very much, having never played the original edition of it, but I have it on good authority, this new one by Gale Force 9 hasn't changed an awful lot about it, and it feels in design like a game from, I believe it's the late 70s that the first edition came out.
But I think that was right to do, because I feel like the new edition of Arkham Horror has been quite polarising.
Yeah, and I think there's some like I really enjoyed it for what it was. Like it's almost like stepping back in time.
Well, it's like playing
Fury of Dracula.
Yeah.
So like in terms of design, not the aesthetics, but like the design of the game and the feel of the game feel really old school, and I like that. I think it works in its favour for it. Also, they have updated the aesthetics, and it looks fantastic as well.
It's very stylised.
Yeah, right. So, really enjoyed it. Want to play more of it so I can form a more rounded opinion. Like I say, I gave up at 3 a.m. and I may have had some beers while we were playing. So, I would like to have a quote unquote serious game of it. Which hopefully we'll get to try over the next few weeks. So
it was one of those ones where I think it really is just indicative of the popularity of the hobby, where it's over the past few years, whenever there's a game that's quite popular, there's a span of about a year where you just can't get it.
Root, Wingspan, Fog of Love for a bit,
Gloomhaven.
Yeah, all of these like super popular games you just couldn't get hold of.
Jaws as well, because Jaws came out last year as well.
I still haven't played that either.
No,
but
it's not like video games where you can always just go and download one now.
Yeah.
You wouldn't download a board game, would you?
Yeah, I would. That's what I'm thinking now. It's like, you wouldn't download a car? Yeah, I would.
I totally would.
If I could download a car, yeah.
I'm glad you got the reference that I was trying to get at, though, because I probably sounded a bit weird if you didn't know what I was talking about.
The advert, it says you wouldn't steal a car, doesn't it? But it's referencing downloading movies.
Yeah.
But it's
And music.
Yeah.
But if I could download those things, absolutely. Maybe like, you know, I mean, who knows? We get 3D printers
Must
now.
I suppose back when that advert was out, 3D printers were not a thing.
Yeah. We'll soon have 3D printing garages so that you can have your 3D printed car.
You can, strictly speaking, 3D print a gun.
I saw that. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
And the guy,
You at home, don't do that.
the guy that did it is trying to make out like he's some defender of democracy or something like that. No, you're making money off this. Okay, don't.
He's probably just like, I don't know, because I haven't read too much into it. My impression was he was trying to make a point as like, this probably should be regulated.
But
Well,
then
is that not what-
But then he released the schematics.
The,
Right, okay.
the STL files.
Yeah.
Oh well, humanity's great.
Yeah.
In terms of other gaming that I've been doing, the Pathfinder campaign continues, and I'm going to save for another episode what has happened, because there's been a big shake-up. So I'll say no more. Leave on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
A legal cliffhanger.
An illegal cliffhanger.
No, illegal. This is a
legal
legal cliffhanger. We were talking about legal and illegal cliffhangers.
I
earlier.
didn't realise there was illegal cliffhangers.
Yep.
You wouldn't download a cliffhanger, would you?
That doesn't even work.
Probably not.
And on that note, I think that's all we've got time for. So thank you very much for listening. Until next time, you take care. Bye.
Bye.